Alright, so here we are looking at a twin for your next test, and I need to make sure this says twin. It is a grade. It'll be due the day you take the test. And this is from section 1.1, key features of graphs. So it won't be too bad. Probably should redo this one. I'm going to redo it at this moment in time, and I'm going to change it later because I need to. So I'm going to make this look like that. And that should be what you see. Hopefully I fix it. All right, for each feature of this function, define the range. Range would be your y values, your output, y. The lowest y value is right here at 4. All right, sorry, at 0. And it's a solid. And then we see it rise along this leg all the way up to 4. Now, don't be that kid who thinks it stops at 3. When you talk about range, you're talking vertically. It's not about left to rightness to some degree. It's about what you see. So it rises all the way to 4, and there's no open hole there, so 0 to 4. And there's this guy right here. I'll try and bold it so your copies show it, but there's that guy right there. The output right there is 5. So 0 to 4 and 5. Domain is your input, your x. So the x value, you literally, if you were to graph this, if you were to do it by hand, you would pick up your pencil and you would start drawing when x is -3. And you would do in one continuous motion all the way to this open circle where x is 0. And there's nothing there. There's a hole in the graph. And then you would pick up your pencil while x is still 0. And it's closed here. And you would keep drawing until you hit 4. Also closed interval. Solid points, no holes in the graph. Interval is where the graph is increasing. There is one interval where the graph is increasing. It is increasing when you draw this segment right here. It is increasing from x values of -1 all the way up to, but not including 0. So from -1 to 0, that graph is increasing. Wonder why I didn't ask about decreasing. Who knows? X-intercepts. The reason I just redid this is because it didn't have any. There's one right there. There's an x-intercept at -1, 0. Ordered pairs do matter. All right. Y-intercepts. There's only one. It's right there. There is nothing there. There's nothing there. Some kids just cannot get that in their head. It is a hole in a graph. There's nothing there. Nothing. But there is one y-intercept. It is at 0.5. Average rate of change over the interval from -4 to 0. That needs to be rewritten for this to -3 to 0 for y'all. Something else I need to fix. That's one of the reasons why I do these twins, is to identify mistakes. And that would be from here to here. Notice I'm not using a formula. I don't need a formula. I have a frickin' graph in front of me. It looks to me like I fall 1, run 3. And I did. I fall 1 and I run right 3. That's what it is. So if you fall 1, you're negative. If you run right 3, you're positive. -1 over +3. And about the only thing else I'm going to have time here before, because I need to get going, it's the end of the day, is to do number 7, which will probably be one of the most missed questions on this particular quiz, because it involves a formula which you will not memorize because you're teenagers and you don't like to do that kind of stuff. Algebra 2 is form and structure. I'm going to have to use point slope form. And that means I also need to know how to find slope, which not every one of you can. The last basics quiz, there were at least 10 kids that I can think of that could not do slope. There's 82 of you juniors. Seems like that's my class count. A couple of y'all are in A school, but there's 82 of you. 10 of you couldn't do slope. Don't be part of that 10. Slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And I'm going to work left to right. So 6 minus 3 over 5 minus a -2. And that's going to give me 3/7. Now, your practice sheet is harder on this example. So don't be like, oh God, it's fractions. I can't do fractions. There won't be a fraction on your actual test. If it is, it'll be a half or something like that. It won't be something like 3/7. And I'm going to use, for no good reason, this point to get my x1 and y1. So there's x1, there's y1, and there's my slope, 3 over 7, assuming I did everything right. So y minus 3 equals 3/7 of x minus a negative 2. And taking away a negative 2 has been adding forever, and it always will be. I am going to use that distributive property. If you've never heard of her, look her up on the internet. Just go to YouTube, type in distributive property. Lots of beautiful videos will show up. 3 times 2 is 6, sitting over a 7, so 6/7. Now we're going to shift this 3 over. And while I do that, I'm going to go ahead and convert it into 21 over 7, because 21 over 7 is 3. Because in order to add two fractions together, you have to have a common denominator. So y is 3/7 of x plus 27/7. And you're done. That doesn't reduce. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do number 8. I want to go home, but 8's so easy. There is a function rule for here. I doubt you remember it, but to reflect over the x-axis, f of x becomes negative f of x. It's a function rule. You negate the function. That's what you do in words. So this guy, I'm going to change its name. It's no longer y. I'm going to make it something like h of x, is formed when I introduce a negative to the entire function. You know, some kids will just murder this. It's about going to each piece. You don't have access to the stuff in bars, but you have access to the understood one that's out front. So this becomes, hey, let me hit the pause button real quick. Let me hit the pause button real quick. I would get interrupted right when I'm nearly done, wouldn't I? So where was I? I have to distribute the negative here and the negative there. You do not have access to things in bars. That should make sense to you. This becomes negative absolute value of x plus 2, and then plus a 7, because a negative times a negative is a positive. And that, yeah, you know what? One more, so that's what I got to do tomorrow. Over what interval is the graph of y equals negative 2 plus the absolute value of x minus 2 decreasing? And to do this, you either have to think about it in your head or you need to draw it. And I've said this with y'all. I'm pretty sure I've said it every class. A picture is worth 1,000 words. It always is. Even in math, it's worth 1,000 words. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite the form. Hopefully you don't have to do this, but some kids do. And I'm going to line up with a times x minus h plus k. A is right there. It's the understood one, and that is my kind of slope. H is 2. That is my horizontal shift or my vertex. And k is negative 2. Now, you know, the other big thing here is knowing what the mother function looks like. The mother function is the absolute value of x. It's that v. That's what you got to know. All right? You have to know it. I can't fix it if you don't. Anyways, time to put everything in here. So this says go right 2 and down 2. And your kind of slope is 1, rise 1, and run 1. And you got to go both ways to make the v. You do. I missed that point just a little bit. But anyways, it looks something like this. The graph does not have to be perfect. If you needed a perfect graph, I would have provided a place for you to graph. The graph does not have to be perfect. Decreasing. That's going to be this particular ray. If you think about where you are here, it'll make sense. You are decreasing as long as you're running from the left all the way to 2. So you are decreasing from negative infinity to 2. Or if you like interval or if you like set builder, I don't care which one you use, or you are decreasing for all values of x such that x is less than 2. And you know what? One more, so I'm done with the first page. Heck, that's a good chunk of the test. 7, 8, 9, and 10 are going to be worth either, I think it's 6 points apiece. So right here is 24 points. And then you got these up here, 3 points apiece. 6 times 3 is 18, 18 and 24, 42 points of your test right here on the first page. And it's not hard. It's not hard. If you can do my homework, test is easy. If you're not trying to do my homework, test is impossible. Identify the transformations of the parent function f of x is the absolute value of x that give g of x equals 4 minus the absolute value of x minus 3. It will be a select all question. There will be choices here. So, you don't have to come up with the words. You just have to select. Anyways, form matters. So, quick rewrite. And I have no idea if you know the general transformation form or not. I don't know if you do or not. It's on your form quizzes. It's a times b times x minus h plus k. That little negative guy, that would be out front. All right, and if a is negative, we reflect over the x-axis. That's one of our transformations. There is a reflection over the x-axis. H is your horizontal shift. It is always OPP the sign because it's in the input. All right. So we have a horizontal shift right 3. That's what that means, right 3. That is horizontal. Then we have K, which is your vertical shift. And that's what this 4 is. So we have a vertical shift of up 4. So there you go. That was 1 through 10 on your twin. Pretty blasted easy if you ask me. And I am going to finally stop, and now there's less that I have to do tomorrow because I want you to have this twin in your hands before the weekend. So I have to get this done first thing in the morning. Ugh.